All right, of course, we had some severe weather in Connecticut today. That possible likely tornado in Windham County, but something we've all had to deal with over the past several days, just copious amounts of rain. This is a graphic, a map of the radar estimated totals of rain since Friday, and especially across interior portions of the state where you see some of those brighter purples and even some blues and blacks showing up. That's where we've seen upwards of 5 to 9 inches of rain with locally higher amounts. That's why we saw widespread areas of flash flooding today. That is all basically over outside of a couple lingering showers. Our eye cam view from Hartford still showing some cloud cover, not the best visibility, but things will be improving as the night progresses, as drier air begins moving in behind a cold front. Our view from New Haven currently 69 in the Elm City and primarily cloudy. So dew point values right in line with the temps right now. We're in the upper 60s to near 70. First alert live radar outside of a little downpour over Milford right now, showing that things are certainly much quieter than they were earlier. Any of these lingering showers in association with this front will be winding down, and that drier, cooler air will be arriving. So here's a check of futurecast dew point values. They will be transitioning from the 60s into the 50s as we head toward daybreak. Tomorrow, from the 50s into the 40s we go. So we dry out. It's going to feel quite nice. A good amount of sunshine. Temperatures top out in the low 70s in the Northwest Hills, mid 70s elsewhere inland, and also along the 95 corridor. Okay, so our next first alert, our attention shifting, of course, to Hurricane Lee. Winds holding steady at 105 miles an hour. That is a Category 2 storm. It's going to be passing just to the west of Bermuda, doing so going as a Category 2, eventually up to a Category 1. And as it passes by to our east, going from Category 1 status to a tropical storm as it heads up toward Nova Scotia. So it's 9 o'clock on Saturday morning, likely due east of us here in Connecticut. We'll be getting some of the fringe effects from the storm as the storm center stays to our east and offshore. So here's a check of futurecast Thursday, showing a clear sky that evening. But as we head toward daybreak Friday, we'll start to see some of those high-level cirrus clouds overspread southern New England. So filtering the sun a bit on Friday morning, those clouds lower and thicken as we head toward Friday evening. We will end the week on a dry note, and the wind will start to increase a bit out of the northeast. Do note the western extent of that rain shield on Friday evening gets into the Cape and Islands and perhaps even as far west as eastern Connecticut by early Saturday morning. Then as Saturday moves forward in time, the storm begins lifting away. So the rain reaching eastern Connecticut, it is fairly uniform here on all the different models that we look at, the European, the American, certainly close. Best chances for rain favor the eastern part of our state. That's also where we're going to likely see some of the strongest wind gusts. The wind will be ramping up Friday night into Saturday morning. So Saturday morning, wind gusts 25 to 35 miles an hour. By Saturday afternoon, we could see some wind gusts between, say, 35 and 45 miles an hour. As we head into Saturday night, those winds will start to decrease in intensity. So for Friday, again, as we break this down for you, clouds increase, becoming breezy. Saturday, best chance for rain eastern Connecticut, elsewhere and across the state, wind gusts 35, 45 miles an hour. If the storm were to shift a little bit to the west, we could see a bit of an uptick in those winds and as well a higher likelihood for some heavier rain. But that does not appear to be the case as of now. But we do have that first alert for Saturday, given that we could see some isolated sporadic power outages. As Bryant mentioned earlier, the root systems of our trees fairly compromised given how much rain we've had over the past several days. So it won't take much wind for some of those to topple over. Sunday, increasing sunshine, upper 70s. Monday, mainly dry day, maybe an isolated shower. Otherwise, next week, overnight lows in the 50s, afternoon highs in the mid 70s.